lactation consultant.
She looks so good when she shops organic, cause she cares about her baby and the future of our planet. But life has gotten hectic now that she's become a mom. Though the charter school waiting list is
Hey, Bear Doodah. Good morning. How are you doing? Going to eat? All right, so I've got that and that. So changing the title of the stream. It's also going to go back and figure out how many days I've actually streamed, or rather, how many days would be sufficient. I was thinking of switching out that date in the stream title for like number blah blah blah, so I can differentiate between them and take notes against that. Also, I think it would be a good idea for me to have better titles on those for when they get exported. All right. Just checking the last time I exported to YouTube. Looks like that was on September 2nd. All right, that's good. I like this. The new schedule is actually working out pretty well, in that I can have a break during the middle of the stream, which is nice. Gonna spend some time with my wife before the stream. All right, let's get going. So we're doing Proc-macros again. Let's see, where we left off was... Let's look at progress. Unrecognized attributes. Oh, that's right, the errors. We're supposed to be having the errors set up correctly. I wanted to check something else real quick. I'm going to adjust the volume on the music. I want to see if this adjusts it. Oh, it does. Okay. Okay. Unrecognized attributes. So if we do a test, it should fail. Oh, that's where we left off yesterday, because it was failing. Yes, that's right. Because it's not failing to compile. It's failing because it didn't fail. Pom pom pom. All right. I definitely like the way that this here is being set up. Parse here is returning a result. The problem for where that is being called is that in this case we're returning an option, which probably means that we're returning the wrong thing here. The API is wrong. Because where this is then being called, in some cases it should be failing. So if we know that we're repeated and we don't have the right type, we could return a result to that. That would be odd, but possible. All right. Or we figure out what type this is. Oh, sin result. Yeah, let's do that instead. No, this parse here should be... That's a sin result there, but we need it wrapped in an option. All right. Basically, I'm not doing it quote unquote the right way at this point. I just want to get through this set of exercises, and then on the next set, given what we've learned, kind of do it a better way. Oh, that is unfortunate. So was there a way to be able to collect this into something that we could? And because this is an iterator at this point. Wow. Okay. Wait, do we end up going through and making these I wonder if we could map this into a result, or just a vector of Proc-macro token stream. What was it we were doing the other day where we ended up collecting into something like that? Hey, good morning, Nomad Pixel. How are you doing? Enjoying this perfect weather for coding. Yes. I see blue skies on the horizon. It's a little damp earlier. Hopefully it means the end of fire season. We'll see. Oh man, it's quite gray and cold. Oh wow. How's the game coming along? It's actually doing fairly well. We've got some islands that are being wired up. Oh, I lost my textures on those faces there. That and something's going on with the environment. It's all gray. You can see we've got the surface, we've got the island borders, the island skirts. The base of the island is being set up. and these are being procedurally generated. And at the moment, we're actually working on learning Proc-macros so that we can add a little bit more to GD native to that project. So I'd like to work on their Proc-macros a little bit. Oh no, all of this is generated using a little bit of noise. No height maps here, nope. We do use a noise map for the texture on the top. I don't know if that's going to be visible. There it is. But that's just to give the surface texture, you know, a little something to see, right? Because if you get onto an island and it's just green or it's just white, like if it's snow, that's not as interesting. You want a little bit of something to mix it up. So how do we end up returning something earlier from this? Let's say this is going to be a vector of sin result. No, that really doesn't make sense. Can we invert it? Let's say we want the sin result on the outside, and everything else, all the successful stuff, we want on the inside. I thought there was a way to do something similar. So there was a way to use the try operator instead of a closure. I just don't remember the little extra bit there. So I know we did this. I know we've done that before. Oh, go back. I think I accidentally clicked on that ad. Does anybody remember how to do that? Oh. I might have taken some notes on it. Let me check my notes. Notebook, Rust. Oh, try is gone. Yeah, basically the question mark is what has become of the try macro, if I remember correctly. Is this the same thing? Oh, it is. Oh, it's deprecated. Use the question mark operator instead. You arrived at Rust too late. That's funny. Yeah, that's a little too late. Trying to find some old snippets. No, not there. Huh. Alright, I'm not seeing it in my notes either. That's too bad. So I believe that you can collect into a result, and you can use the question mark operator in there if you have the right type set up. Okay, what's this error saying actually? Try operator can only be used in a function that returns result or option. The trait try is not implemented for token stream. Why does it need it for token stream? Oh, because it's an option to it. If let some foo? Well, I want the error to be returned here. So if we do get an error, I want it to basically bubble out from this question mark to this question mark here, which does mean that this is not going to be the same. You've read some people on who are saying question mark and unwrap for option / result is unwise. I think that it's incredibly ergonomic and it makes a lot of sense. It really depends on the rest of your app and how your flow for errors is. I think using unwrap in cases that you can basically prove that the other case isn't going to happen, or that you would want the application to crash, then you probably want to use expect instead of unwrap, so at least you could give a message to your future self as to why you wanted the app to crash. I tend to toss a lot of unwrap in there when it might be like just trying something out, and then I'll come back and beef it up. Alright, so in these cases, I think I need to do a for loop here, which is unfortunate. Do a cargo check on that. I just want to see the larger error. Oh, okay. There's some more of these. So it's going to light this up like a Christmas tree. Yeah. But this error. Question mark cannot be used in a function that returns Proc-macro token stream. This function should return result or option to accept question mark. Ah, this one on the outside doesn't. They have magical like error messages. I mean, look at all the ASCII art. How do they do that? That is just fantastic. So it's actually pointing up here. I see. And in this case, I actually wanted to go to compile error. So that sin error needs to go to a compile error. Interesting. Well, how do we do that down here? Just ignoring the stuff below, right? Anything down here, just ignore for now. We're working on this section. Because if that's an error, can we collect it into a SYN result and then deal with that after? Oh, interesting. So I could bail out early like this. It needs to be boxed. Oh, not boxed, just wrapped correctly. There's something a little odd there. So that returns a token stream. Isn't that the right type for this function? Token stream? All right. And what does it think this is? Proc-macro token stream. Proc-macro token stream. Ah, found a proc-macro 2 token stream. Fine. Take that. That's, at least we know why it's going the into now. All right. But that there, having a result and being able to use a try operator inside of a closure is magic. That is awesome. That's just great. I wonder what it's doing with this generated code. Because for every one of these items, we're collecting the good piece. But what if there's more than one bad option? Does it stop? Because if you look at these types, in this case, we have just a list of fields, right? And something bad might happen inside of there. It might not be parsable. And if it's not parsable, we want to return the result. Or rather, the error. But what if there's more than one error? Do we only get the first one? Probably. Hey, welcome back, Captain. But this pattern here is, to me, it just makes so much sense. Be able to have that sort of result there, being able to return the OK error from inside of here, and then use that later on. Sadly, I'm going to copy paste some of this. Gonna wrap these. Dark humor is like food. Not everyone gets it. Oh, that's dark. Let's wrap those in OKs. Question mark on that. There's our setters. Let's see if we can multi-vim these three. Ooh, okay, we got that. All right, this one's for fields. Let's correct the naming on the others. Defaults. I wonder if there's a way to do this on that iterator. I think we have to collect it. Let's play around with that just a little bit. Asdalen. Is that Asdalen? My biggest struggles with Rust at first is understanding how to use result and option to great effect. Me too. I completely agree. There is so much inside of option, result, iterator. Hey JT. Every day. I try for every day. Either is where it's at. Either. Yeah. Good morning, Museum. Usually not on the weekend. Some, looking over the history, I was looking at my streaming history the other day, and I think Mondays I miss more than other days. But my goal is actually every day, a couple hours every day. Because for me, that's the best way for me to improve on something like this. It's just that kind of daily immersion in it. So Museum, we are trying to get these results propagated out. Hey, good morning, Peyton Rules. Welcome, Raiders. And just so everybody knows, we do have a little chat bot there that's Capitan, and then Capitan's got a couple of these. And we are learning Proc-macros to further our game, which is called Legacy. You need a match instead of if let else get the okay out. I see. What? I think what I was curious about is whether or not it's possible to actually get this. Let fields equals match fields. Okay, fields are return. I see. So the proc macro, I was looking at the result of this, and this is basically returning a token stream as well. Which is interesting and odd to me at the same time. Yeah, it's the proc macro 2.1. Interesting. Because if we just returned the error in here, how would the compiler handle it? I mean, it would find the compiler error in the list of elements that we dump into it later, that we then use later in here somewhere, right? These fields here, would then have the token stream with the error inside of it. So the compiler just looks at the token stream, says, hey, that's an error, and displays it? That is pretty cool. Where were we? Here. Which tells it to stop compilation. Ah, I see. That's interesting. I don't like the pattern I've come up with here because of how this grew. Not having that like holistic look at Proc-macros. So this is a little bit of a rat's nest at the moment. And I really don't like it. Alright. I'm going to try to just move those inside of the map. Return that instead. So inside of a sin result. We could still go back to iterator then. Which would give you a compiler error at span with a message, can I do that? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. We have an error up here at the top. Attributes should have an each. And this is from the sin result, from the parse, for the attribute. So I'm trying to bubble that out into the compilation error. And if we come back down, where were we? Actually, I'm going to undo a bunch. There was a bunch of stuff in here we didn't need to do. Yeah, take those off. Alright, so that was interesting, but I don't think we want to go that direction. So in this case, we have a sin error that was made for us. It's actually right there. All right, but this repeated here needs to be broken down. Yeah, I don't like this. Which moves self and produces an error with a span. So function to compile self error, impulse span. I see. You usually have a function to compile error on your enum. Yeah, I want to get through this first one, and then on the second set of exercises, take everything that we've learned and build a better foundation. Because I really don't want to just rewrite this entire thing just to make it correct. I'm just going to plow through it. We're almost at the end. That way you just make the enum. Okay. Oh, wow. They have combine as well. Nice. All right, so this is basically going to be a little bit of copy and paste. Oh, this is so gross. All right, let's get to the next batch of tests. Oh. And you can always make functions that return token stream or impl token stream. Oh, impl to tokens. Ah, interesting. Interesting. That's probably... That's got to be a neat pattern too. Returning impl to tokens with quote stuff inside of it. There we go. Soldering is fun. You can even impl 2 tokens on my type. That does sound pretty cool. All right. Let's see. Okay, cargo test. I did not fail. Why did that not fail? Okay, let me show you what we're looking at. So in this case, we're trying to parse these quote-unquote builder attribute sections, which is really just the attribute on a field that should say each equals, and then whatever the string literal is, right? So if everything is fine, great. Otherwise, we fail out. But that error there is not bubbling back out. You should be able to write Rust in a string, then parse it into that struct. Oh, you don't have to run it through. Oh, interesting. Wow. So just for fun, TMT. You threw away the last of your bits so we could have a good vibe. Nice. Well, thank you for that. Oh, that's pretty cool. So in this case, if we were trying to fail this test, a noble sacrifice. Oh man. What is it? Each equals foo or something. Baz. Hey, Green Tide. Good morning. How you doing? So then we should just be able to parse that into it. Huh? Now, for parsing that, how do we take a string into this? Let's take a look. Is it sin parse? First legacy creepypasta. I don't know what a creepypasta is. Oh, first turn. Oh my, that didn't work. I don't know. I live in the middle of nowhere, so you are like the extent of my social interaction beyond my family. On the same code as last week, this is the third stream that we're doing Proc-macros. Now in this case, we probably want to have the result type here, right? Yeah, we want that to go into let foo equals. That's funny. Chain emails. All right, so if we were wrap this into one of those and assert equal. That's my internet connection all the way out here. I am so looking forward to Starlink. If anybody's got Starlink connections, please send them my way. All right, well, at first, at least let's get that there. Attribute singular. Yeah, green tide. My internet connection is like 4 megabit per second down, 4 up, if the wind is blowing the right way. If the bits have a good tailwind. What's Starlink? The low orbit satellite constellation for providing internet access? Yeah, I would like this very much. I've signed up twice for the beta. So yeah, satellite's designed not to pollute space, just your view of it, etc., etc. All right, cargo test. We won't get into that though. Finding Python channels on Twitch. Trying to learn. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that's a Musk thing. Wait, why didn't it do my test? Oh, because it's using the other test runner, isn't it? Oh, it did it at the top. Oh, here. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I would expect that it would eventually be available in Europe. Probably everywhere. Technically, it could actually, I think you could beat out fiber in some areas, not in terms of total throughput, but in terms of latency. I think the top speed of light going through fiber is 2/3 the speed of light because it has to bounce inside, so it's not actually going full speed. Actually, this one here, it's part of the examples, not the examples, but part of the test. What we're trying to do is to make it fail in a way that that satisfies these criteria. So here, if somebody's providing the wrong information to this, then it should fail. Interesting. I mean, my test is broken. Should be like that, shouldn't it? Each equals arg. So this is the working one. That should work. That should fail. So if we have two tests, let's separate those. Is there any learning Python game? I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not sure on the whole like astronomy thing. I think people like to make a big fuss about it. But if you're doing like deep space photography, stuff like that, then you end up doing stacking anyways. And stacking removes stuff like satellite stuff. So if you did get some glimmer of, let's say, the space station or whatever, stacking would just naturally remove it. Ah. Okay. Good attribute, bad attribute. Interesting. So why... Okay, this is backwards. Or am I... Oh, I'm misusing this. Okay, my tests are wrong. So in this case, I think I'm just supposed to be passing in those tokens. Basically the stuff inside of those parentheses. Well, pound sign is incorrect. The rest looks good. Alright, so those are quote-unquote working. So if those are producing errors correctly, then why... Okay, well why is the other one failing? You can test most of the macros this way, especially if you use the parse more. Yeah, on the next set of these exercises, I'm definitely going the parse route, as that seems like, well, it's made for it. It seems like such a better way to do it. Now, I did have a question. In this case here, I really only care about collecting one piece of data. I had been collecting these other tokens as well. It's the easy way. Yeah. It's like doing brain surgery, quote unquote, the easy way. I do not find this easy. I find it challenging and interesting though. All right. It's easier than manually doing it? Yes, and I think it also lends itself to better patterns. Oh, generics, I don't even want to think about those right now. That would throw such a wrench into this. But in these cases, I'm parsing and just trashing these elements. It's a stylistic thing. I ended up dropping them because they're not public here, and it just ended up in compiler warnings. So instead of saving them to like underscore foo or equals, token, etc., I ended up just getting rid of them real quick. I love Rust. Rust has gone to like the top of my language list. So Ito, you say, from what you read from astronomers, it depends on how much satellite we end up with. Yes. Yeah, at least, they're trying to make the satellites better in that regard, not so reflective. Okay, builder attribute, name, parse, put up parse. Oh yeah, we could get rid of the type info there. Put up parse quote. Oh, interesting. Who needs okay? Oh, that's interesting too. All right. This I thought was also really neat. How you could define keywords like that. That is awesome. Well, for your own parsing, but that was really neat. And I like the look ahead, the peak. Those little bits seem to be very helpful. But this should have failed. It succeeded. All right, so something else did not fail. So where we are using that, here I'm going to move these tests down below. Toss those down there. Oh, how you can parse JSON with SYN only. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I could absolutely see it going this way. Wow. So these should be getting hit. These elements right here. Like if I started this in, let's say, a panic. That should cause an issue. I know that's not an whatever. I should panic that test. Yes, we know. It's not reachable. Oh, yeah, no worries. Green Tide. So Proc-macros are essentially, if you're familiar with macros in other languages, they are like the 800-pound gorilla of macros. They are incredibly flexible. You can use a proc macro to modify your code, to add code. It's basically code that writes code. That's like the elevator pitch for proc macros is it's code that writes code. So if you're familiar with macros in, let's say, C or C++, they let you transform. Well, not even transform. They let you produce some code based on the inputs. But proc macros go above and beyond that. So as you write a proc macro, the compiler gives your proc macro code the syntax tree that it has parsed. And then you get to operate on that and generate a token stream. We go up one level. This is our main file. You can see we have a struct here. We've got a little main file. Right, there's not much in here. We've got a struct and we've got this other stuff. But we do have this derive builder here. We're building this proc macro called builder. And builder understands these tags here. So if we expand this code into what the compiler generates, well, we should see those panics now too, but you can see that there's a little bit more now. That here's the struct that we started out with, but the proc macro ended up generating all of this other code. So it ends up generating this builder pattern for our code. So Baz here, which was our original one, gets a new method. So we're adding builder to Baz. And then our builder has a number of methods on it as well. Why am I using look ahead? It looked fun. I mean, quite frank, I was looking through the documentation and I was just trying to use it. But you're right. We could just compare the token, because I don't really need token to look ahead because I don't have a branch, right? Like you would want to look ahead if you were going left or right here. Just peek. Gotcha. Oh. Right, because the look ahead keeps you from actually changing the cursor that the input's using, right? All right. Peek, peek. Is that 2LL? Okay. Now the big issue that we're currently having is that, and I wouldn't call it a big issue, it's just the problem should be that this should error. That should panic. Oh, before we do that, let's comment that out so we stop getting those. Makes it so hard to see. There's 3 crates for parsing them. Prometire, Darling, and now Bay. See, that there should have panicked, but it didn't panic. So that means repeated did not fail. Which should have gone in here. Oh, that's repeated type. I want repeated here. Oh, if let okay. Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, yeah, so our bug's right here. And Bay is new taken, Darling? Yeah. That's great. I want to take a look at those real quick. Let's go to crates. Why 3 crates? What? Alright. Updated a year ago. Oh, what was the... Well, Prometire didn't get many downloads at all. Darling core, darling macro. The crate for Proc-macro authors. I like that you're basically using Proc-macros to build Proc-macros. What about Bay? Updated a month ago. David Peterson. Huh. From attributes, item struct, okay. It's also attribution in Sinatra. Oh, that's funny too. All right, so back to the code. So the flaw in my code here is that this attribute, basically this okay, shouldn't be the only thing that returns here. We should probably be returning either variant. So this should be a match. Oh, that's weird. Oh, oh, you're right, Museum. It's like one of those. Why don't you just plug the computer in? Halsey, over there. Yeah, into the wall. Yep. Plug it in. You are right. Yeah, if it isn't, then it just gets okay, none. I am not a fan of this pattern, so yeah, it's grown kind of sideways because I didn't see the progression through these. Right, I just started looking at just 0, 1 and then 0, 2 and then 0, 3. When we got to like, which one was it? Method chaining or was it optional fields? One of those we ended up having to go back and rejigger a bunch of it. And I'm trying to avoid that at the moment. But at least now we should get the panic. Come on, panic, panic. Yes, we got the panic. Okay, perfect. What? Oh, it needs error. Interesting. The other test runner here, does it... Oh, that's strange. Mismatch. Expected this. Actual output. Expected one of comma or... I see. So in this example, well, in this challenge that we're going through, we actually have to use the whole token there. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that so we can get it verbatim. And where was that other piece here? That error looks like I'm generating actual invalid syntax. It does, doesn't it? With a comma saying, hey, you should be doing these other things. See, here it is. Attribute should have each, which is my error. And in this case, we went with the span, and we'll take the span of the attribute. With our error message. Hey, Jametron. How's it going? Just gonna put that on there like that. One more paren, there we go. Oh, map error, not map. All right, that should give us the right span and hopefully kind of silence some of those errors. How's your weekend going, Jamestrong? This is interesting. Why? Interesting that it just points to that one element there. Not found in the scope. Not fancy. So is the parse on this the issue then? It's almost like, well, I mean, I was trying to do this like so, but it seems as though the span is incorrect if I do it this way, which means you're not failing to produce the macro, it's trying to generate code. Oh, ooh. Is it possible to create click events on terminals? It might be. Why do you ask? Because I'm actually not clicking on the terminal. Alright. So if it's not failing, why is it not failing? Because this here should fail. Let's go to 08. I want to see the code. So it's EAC, and that should fail. Even our tests validate that. It's right there. Let's check the string here then. How do you check an error like that? Alright, I'm pretty sure I have that wrong. Macro requires an argument as an expression. Interesting that it's a vector of error messages. I guess that goes back with the concat bits. So sin error, does it new span to compiler? It does implement debug and display. Alright. Yeah, Jametron. Not sure. Yeah, I'm not really big on the that kind of stuff like that. Secretly a hyper intelligent auto commenter. Aren't we all? Alright, where was I going with this? I forgot. What is display? No, not path display. Center format display. Just takes format, right? Yeah. Builder attribute doesn't implement that. Guess I don't really care if that's public or not, because what I'm really looking for isn't whether or not that. I just want the error. Two-string? The builder attribute seems a bit much for parsing specific underscore key equals value. Yeah, we had seen that the parse API while going through it. All right. Expected builder, blah, blah, blah. So it's actually getting the fix me there, which is expected. But this is the wrong one. Oh, I was testing the wrong one. All right. If we ignore this for a moment. All All right, going back to the test that's broken. What are we coding? We are currently in the middle of making a proc macro, or learning how to build proc macros in Rust. Procedural macros. So you were saying that it looks like it's getting further than it should here. Oh, is this because I'm building an iterator? What is it? So here, these fields, we don't return this early. Should that be returned early? Because it was just being left in the stream. It's technically this same way. That's going to not do anything, is it? That's going to return from the closure, not from the outer method. In which case we're stuck bubbling kind of okay error out, aren't we? Or using for loops. All right, let's go back to where we started the stream with. Gonna collect that into a syn result, or just a vec. If we do a vector here, then these elements here have to be wrapped. But the outer function is token stream. That's kind of gross. Can we not let return? Can we not assign from an if let? We should be able to. I mean, this is not pretty code, but I thought this should work. Oh, it's missing an else. Because what's the default going to be if it doesn't have it? Just return the error. All right. Let's do it the right way. All right. There's that. Ah. So if we get an error back out, hmm. So that'll return it earlier. Instead of it becoming part of the token stream, it comes back out much, much sooner. You feel like you've already typed that? All right, looks like our span is wrong. Yeah. Oops. Okay, so using the match correctly with the let variable equals match because of the unwrap, etc. Yeah, error doesn't have a map span. Oh, it doesn't. Yes, he does. Interesting, so we have to create a new one. Ah, in repeated, okay. Here. So this attribute span is incorrect then. Instead of just mapping to the right span after the fact. Oh. So I thought that this attribute path ident piece here, attribute was going to be the right, would have the right span on it, but it doesn't. Alright, so how do we get the right span out of this? Close that. I mean, that represents the whole thing. So path is the first piece, found token style, etc. 2 tokens. What's adders? Oh, it looks like we are a field. So adders is that. So self-span. Wouldn't that be for the field itself and not the attribute? Spans are weird in Sin. Gotcha. Oops. Now in this case, they're pointing to the contents of the attributes. So maybe, as you said earlier, we should combine some paths. Because we should have, this is the path. Then on the right side, these are the, what they call them? Tokens. So we have the path and we have the tokens. So if we combine those spans, you can't join spans in stable Rust. Oh. Pound token, bracket token, tokens, token stream. That T should have the right span. We are, but it wants. So that's what we were using before, that attribute there. It gave us the wrong span. So you need the span on the meta. Oh, that's right. There are extension traits in here. Restaurant, Pecan, no. Attribute args. Alright, input token stream. That's neat. I don't remember seeing meta. So this is trait on trait implementation for Sin Field. Let's drill down again. Field has attributes. Attribute is what we're going through. What is style? Oh, inner and outer. Out of curiosity, where is span? It's implemented, automatically implemented for all types that implement 2 tokens. Okay. You can join. We could join 2 spans. Oh, not using the nightly compiler will always return none. Interesting. Are we meant to use start and end? Let's see, can we create a span? Oh, that's in Proc-macro. Alright, back to where we were. Field. Field has attributes. Okay. Oh, self.tokens. Attribute. Attribute tokens.span. Does that give us the entire kind of breadth of, like the width of that attribute? Being able to join spans would be neat. Being able to fix it up would be neat. Oh, we're missing the first section. Alright, so the tokens are over there. Wow. So we're able to get the tail end. That's interesting. How are we supposed to get this? It's so close. Alright, well let's just go through the list. You just span on the meta. Where's meta? Parses the content of that, if possible, in this meta. Should be able to get the span on the inner piece of that. Okay. I just want to see if it's the right one to use. So you need the span on the meta. Okay. Oh well, the meta only gave us the beginning half. I was surprised that 2 tokens didn't actually do it. Are we too far in on this? Is it possible that the span changes as it's parsing? That shouldn't be the case. Alright, and that should just give us the first token, right, if I remember correctly. So we figured out how to get the first token, the pound sign, right, which is what this one is. We figured out how to get the args, the builder, but not all of it together, or at least not the contents of it. Alright. See, I would have thought that there was some span that represented the section, or there was some way of actually joining spans. Unstable. Bracket token, path, etc. Alright, I'm going to go through this list. So, pound token should be the first one, right? Pound token, yep, that's on there. Alright, that was the pound token. Perfect. Style. Outer or inner? Let's see. I don't think this is something that has a span because it doesn't have tokens. Okay, so bracket token. Does it not have a span? No, it just has token on it. But it does have a field span. And that should take us one character to the right. We're just working through this. I want to see if one of these is representing something unexpected. Oh, that's surprising. That's a lot closer. So that actually gave us everything including the bracket. Okay. So path and token stream, path and tokens. Path should be the first piece. That should be the left-hand side. Yeah, so that's the left. And then tokens is going to be everything on the right. So we tried parse meta. Parse meta didn't work. Parse args. I think that's already what we're using. So is there a way to combine token streams? Because if this path I think has 2 tokens. Yes. We can extend a token stream. Interesting. So we take the path and we extend it with the other tokens, and we should be able to get the span on that. Maybe. We'll see. Alright, so we're going to take the path followed by the tokens. To token stream. Extend. I want tokens next. Can we get the span off of that? No. Oh, because extend doesn't do that. Path plus tokens is equal to that. And let's try oh, I see. We have to do that. Make this mutable. Oh, it didn't do it. Why wouldn't that do it? So we did path, we extended it with okay, so maybe that wasn't the right method here. Do we have to into iterator on it and then maybe chain the other one onto it? So it looks like we should be able to. So why did that not change the span? So I'm guessing that it did work here. It did extend the token stream, but the span didn't change. This is an interesting puzzle. So what have we not tried? We tried each one of those. We tried parse meta. Tried even going back and looking at all of Museum's suggestions. Yeah, so we looked at parse args that T didn't get the span on the meta. Tried the meta. Hey Cubite. Happy Saturday. How are you? Dan, we haven't done any bad jokes today. We were like a couple behind. Why are pianos hard to open? The keys are on the inside. Alright, so we're trying to get this proc-macros span working correctly. Basically, we're expected to create a span for this section here. We're able to get this section, we're able to get this section, this whole section, the right side, but getting that whole section marked is eluding us. Alright, you know what? Let's look in here. Let's look at the suggestion here. Alright, compile error. Yep, so we've looked at that. So we could say new span and give it tokens. So maybe we give it, interesting. So if we have an error and we say new span, and what is combined? Both errors will be emitted together. I don't think we want that one. So in this case, we are generating a new error, sin error new. So we're calling this function here, which provides a span instead of tokens. Ooh. Alright, we're going to try this again, but with attributes and new span. I want to see what this new span can take there. It's basically anything that can go 2 tokens. Ah, look at that. That's actually giving us the whole thing. Okay, I think we're on the right track here. Because before, when we gave it attribute, it was only the first token. It was highlighting only underneath the pound sign. Alright, so let's go back to attribute. Wherever it is. Oh, what was that other bold attribute? Visit attribute. Interesting. We're going to try the bracket token instead. Ah, bracket token doesn't go 2 tokens, but path and tokens do. Oh my goodness, that worked. Oh, wow. Okay, so in this case, you have to join token streams and pass them into error new span, and you give it the token stream, and it figures out the span for the token stream. Well, thank you. Thank you. That took 2 hours. Wow. All right. And the next one, redefined prelude types. What is this one? All right. Does your macro still work if some of the standard library prelude item names mean something different in the colors code? Oh no. Oh no. It may seem unreasonable to consider this case, but it does arise in practice, most commonly for result. Or crates sometimes use a result type alias with a single type parameter, which assumes their creates a error type. Such a type alias would break macro-generated code that expects result to have 2 type parameters. As another example, hyper O.10 used to define hyper OK as a re-export of hyperstatus status code OK, which is totally different from result OK. This caused problems in code doing use hyper : star together with macro-generated code referring to OK. Generally, all macros, procedural as well as macro rules, designed to be used by other people should refer to every single thing in their expanded code through absolute paths, such as center result. Alright, so they're going to break our code now. Oh, lovely. This one should be quicker, as it's going to result in us just being explicit about our paths. Yeah. String. Yep, there it is. That's an interesting error too, because if we look at the error, wrong number of type arguments, expected 0, found 1. Why? Yeah, this isn't doing anything crazy. All right. So the first element on our list, I'd like to check through option, some, and none. Option. Ah, they nuked option. Centered option. Wow. All right. Some. Yeah, we got some of these. Hold on, that's only in the generated code, isn't it? That's only in generated code. So here, just looking through the rest of this code to make sure. It looks like we already had center box in there. Error, that's fine. Oh, that's okay though. That and our option was not correct. It needs to say colon at the beginning of it. Here. Is it standard vec? Yeah, standard vec. Oh, and what about concat here? Where is concat? Standard concat? Looks like it. Most of these look okay. Except for this okay. Although it should be able to infer the right kind of okay based on the result here. Oh, brilliant. Okay. That took 3 days to get through the first thing in the Proc-macro workshop. Well, 3 mornings, I guess. All right. Workflow. Test harness. Recommendations. Here we were. So we did this one as the first project. This will get you comfortable with traversing syntax trees and constructing output source code. All right, which one next? I would recommend starting on Bitfield only if you feel you have a strong grasp on at least two of the other projects. Alright. I don't know which one. Do you have any suggestions or interests? So go for Derive Custom Debug if you're interested in exploring how macros manipulate trait bounds, which is one of the most complicated aspects of code generation in Rust involving generic code sets like Serday. This project provides an approachable introduction to trait bounds and digs into many of the challenging aspects. Interesting. Go for Sequence if you're interested in parsing custom input syntax yourself. The other projects will most all rely upon parsers that have already been written and distributed as a library. This one sounds cool. Sequence. Go for Sorted if you're interested in generating diagnostics, custom errors via macro. It also covers different ways of processing input syntax trees. The other projects will do most things through if-let. The visitor approach is better suited for certain types of macros involving statements or expressions, as we'll see here. Alright. Now, I'm kind of curious. Do they have... Well, let's try Sorted next. Alright, Proc-macro attribute. Parsinum. This test checks that an attribute macro sorted exists and is imported correctly in the module system. Okay. If you make the macro return an empty token stream or exactly the original token stream, this test will already pass. Be aware that the meaning of the return value of an attribute macro is slightly different from that of a derived macro. Derived macros are only allowed to add code to the color site. Thus, oh, I see. What they return is compiled in addition to structing them, that is the macro input. On the other hand, attribute macros are allowed to add code to the color site, but also modify or remove whatever input the attribute is on. The token stream returned by the attribute macro completely replaces the input item. Oh wow. Interesting. Before moving on to the next test, I recommend also parsing the input token stream as SYN item. In order for the item to be available, you will need to enable features full for your dependency of SYN. Since by default SYN only builds the minimum set of parses needed for derived macros. Gotcha. After parsing, the macro can return back exactly the original token stream so that the input enum remains in the colors code and continues to be usable by the code for the rest of the crate. Gotcha. Resources. And item. Okay. Args input, unimplemented. What was the other function called? Parse input stream or something? Parse macro input. I shouldn't create Proc-macros isn't needed anymore, as of like 1.44. Oh, nice. Huh. That's nice. Wait, where was that? Parse macro input, yep, at the top. Ah, we have to add sin. Cargo, add sin. M to the M. You've never taken the step to learn Proc-macros yet. Are they difficult to understand? No, I'd say they're just different. I think like many things in here, there's just a lot of information. So going through something like the Proc-macro workshop, I think is the perfect way to get started with this. Oh, 1.42. Nice. Let's give that a check. Oh. That should be a macro. And that should be imported. It's an item. That should be able to go to 2 tokens, right? So this token stream here, now if we had that, a quote into for the empty one, I think that because this is an attribute, wouldn't we want to also include the input in it? Just for now. That and we need quote, cargo add, quote. Or to do. Oh, syn exports quote? Oh, that's different. Mismatch types. Expected unit on that. Let's see, it's right there. There's quote. Is that in the wrong file? Oh, that's right, we can't do it that way. We've got to save it to local. Or put it in parentheses. Why can't it pull in quote quote? That's odd. I get that syn is exporting quote. Oh man. Oh, it doesn't publicly export quote. Oh, interesting. Feels like it should have had that already. Export is what it calls for external crates. Oh, I see. Parse quote. Oh, Museum, did you see what the solution to the previous one was? So in here, we went through. We tried the meta, all that extra stuff. It didn't work. We ended up having to join token streams. So in this case, error, : new span, and then giving it the tokens, which the span should encompass, did it? When we tried to grab the span off of the tokens, here, the expanded tokens, right, because span is on each one of those. But if we had path tokens, and we passed that in with, here, this one didn't work either. So if we did a let span equal to that, and instead of like so, if we did This one also didn't work. Well, this one does. I do not know why this one didn't work. If it's able to figure it out from this new span, I have no idea. But for whatever reason, if you extend and then get the span off of it and then pass that to error new, no dice. That span stuff is why Rocket isn't stable. Oh wow. Use fancy error messages. Oh, that must. I was wondering why they didn't go stable yet. Oh wow. Well, good for them for having good error messages. That's really nice. Alright, so for 01, parsing num. I'm going to put this on main. I just want to make sure that it's working. I'm going to comment this out here. Yeah. So if, let's see, macro is sorted. Okay, so everything's fine there. And if, just to play around with this, as I said before, just want to see it. So if we remove input from that, the input then, that thing isn't outputted. Wow, okay, so that gets rid of the whole thing, just like they said it would. Oh, probably just want extra traits. Thank you. Yeah, and here they suggested full. I wasn't sure why. In order for item to be available. All right. Oh, interesting. So in this case, they are trying to introduce us to item. All right. Well, that's good to know. Item is basically the root node of the AST. I see. It uses fold, etc. for custom subparsing. Static bike shed. All right. So in this case, we got 1. Progress, 2. Naughty nums. O2, naughty nums. The sorted macro is only... That's really dark. The sorted macro is only defined to work on enum types. So this is a test to ensure that when it's attached to a struct or anything else, it produces some reasonable error. Then they look for an item as parsed to ensure that it represents an enum, returning an error for any other type, such as a struct. Alright. And we are expected to have an error. Expected enum or match expression. Or match. naughty nums. Does it sound like, yeah, or naughty nums? That's funny. I could see how I'm blurring that and not enunciating it well enough. Alright. This is an exercise in exploring how to return errors from procedural macros. The goal is to produce an understandable error message, which is tailored to this specific macro, saying that sorted cannot be applied to things other than enum. For this, you will want to look at the sin error type, how to construct it, how to return it. Notice that the return value of an attribute macro is simply a token stream, not a result with an error. The sin error type provides a method to render your error as a token stream containing an invocation of the compile error macro. Final tweak that you may want to make is to have the sorted function delegate to a private helper function which works with result. So most of the macro can be written with result returning functions, while the top level function handles conversions down to token stream. Okay. Why it's on, yeah, on day 3 or whatever. First, walk through the fire. Then we'll teach you how to do it safely. First, have to play with the sharks to get to know them. Wow. Okay, I'm going to read this again just to make sure it's sinking in. Now, oops, didn't mean to do that. If we look at the lib here, we get args for the token stream, or we get a token stream for the args as well as the input stream. That's interesting. So what is args in this case? Arg. All right. I get that the input here is likely the enum. That's going to be the attribute. Huh? That's neat. Yeah, sorted, middle out. Yeah, it's just an empty token stream at the moment. Which is strange. I guess it's not too strange because it has to give us something there. So really just, and if we provided content here, then we get a little more, don't we? Ah, okay. I see now. You can parse the stuff faster. Got it. Got it. That's handy. Alright, let's see how that's going together. I don't see a reason why we would need args at this point. Because really that's for it to tell us which macro is getting called. So that it knows that we're actually calling this function here. Okay, let's comment that out. I have a gut feeling that we're gonna get some extra little bits in here eventually. Oh, probably check to make sure they aren't passing stuff. Don't forget to add an Easter egg. It knows the macro by the function name. I see. That's a good idea to return some sort of error there. Does token stream have a length? Oh, that's in Proc-macro, isn't it? So if it's not empty, we could return an error. Do I study computer science? I'm studying computer science right now. Does that... I've been in industry for a while now. You know nothing about it, but want to study it maybe. I think that's a fantastic idea. I mean, if your interests are computers or software, I think studying comp sci is it's kind of a lifelong endeavor. And there are some fantastic courses online. There's a lot of resources online. I think in terms of studying, you probably want to get involved in some sort of group just to be able to bounce ideas off people, even if it's, you know, tossing stuff that you can't figure out in the Rust playground, and then, you know, asking online in forums or Discord, etc. Like, hey, I'm getting this error, what do I do? Because there's going to be situations where you don't want to hit your head against the wall too much. I mean, failure is a great teacher, but it can also be a great demotivator if you don't temper it. Yeah. And do some every day. And just, even if it's like, you know, 15, 30 minutes. I'm not really sure about the market in Germany. I couldn't say. All right. Oh, that's good coffee. So if that, we want to return an error. So if I want to give it the whole thing, oh, args. I'm not sure if I want to give it that or the other one. Is that the right kind of token stream? I forget. Splitting this out to a function is also pretty good. Args. Oh, I see, I see. We're returning an error early. That makes a lot of sense. So we could say like parse args and have send result. Only the macros can be public, by the way. Oh, that's good to know. We'll say, in a good case, it'll return a token stream. I mean, really, we're not doing anything with that at the moment, but error. You just see some word that you don't read before with special character things like pound pound. So we're working on Proc-macros. We're actually working through the Detailne Proc-macro workshop, which is, I don't know, where would you consider this in terms of learning Rust? For me, I'm like a year into learning Rust. I've spent over 1,000 hours learning Rust, and I'm just getting to learning Proc-macros. Yeah, a bit like C++ preprocessor, yeah, but like more full-featured. Basically, it takes the syntax tree from the compiler and then passes it into your function so you can do things with it. You can transform it and hand it back to the compiler. Error dot. So if we wanted to do something fancier with that, we could. So if it's empty, we're going to return an error. Else we'll return OK. Yes. I like the positive case instead. Do I have one too many? Oh. New span. Alright, I've got a visitor. Let me spend a minute with her. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. So in this case, 2 tokens is not satisfied. Oh, I see it. Because what is sin error? Or sin result is type error. An error here I would expect to be a sin error. Yeah, that's sin error. So if we're creating a new error here, we should be returning that. New span returns a self. It's the OK on line 8. Args, token stream, colon, boom, underscore. Oh, that T there. That 2 tokens. I see, because that's a token stream. And not actually tokens. So it's this T there, those tokens T. And that makes sense. Alright, well, if we just do a new one, we have to give it a span, and the span... Does args have a span? I don't think it does. Token stream. Oh, I see. So if I turn it into that, it'll have it. Got it. That's a really bad way of doing it. Okay, in this case, I'm going to be explicit with these 3. Proc-macro token stream on those. And then once we get this args dot... Gonna get rid of that. We're going to add proc-mac2. Span locations? Oh, interesting. What is that? Remember that. Thank you for that, Trulugomo. If it's, I think we got it right here. If it's empty, we're good. We only accept it when it's empty. Why is it doing that again? Cargo check. Oh, it didn't add proc macro. Oh, I'm at the wrong level. Drat. Not the log file. Cargo toml. Yeah, there. That shouldn't be there. Okay, close that one. Come back here. Go into the right directory. All right. Oh, span location is nightly. Gotcha. Thank you. All right, let's fix the other issues and we should be good. I'm going to comment that out for a moment. I want to get this import working. Let's see, probably a dumb question, but are you going to use syn attribute args and parse args? Turn PM1 into PM2. I was hoping that this into was going to do it here, and that this token stream here would provide the right information to it because we'd have the right import, and we'd be explicit when we were using proc macro token stream, but not proc mac 2 token stream. I've noticed an odd thing with COC in that if I add proc macro 2 to something, it doesn't really catch it until later. Like I have to reload it. Not on the input. Oh, I see. I see. I get what you're saying. No span for Proc-mac 2 token stream. Oh, that's interesting. It expands it to a temp file and parses it. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So, oh, I get you. Okay. Now for the other side. Press input. Just give it input. So let's say that one's going to be slightly different. Okay. I guess that could end up going here. But I think that we're probably going to do something else there. Get rid of all of that. And after returning it here, parse macro input. So we could end up parsing this as something else. All right, so instead of parsing it as item, we can do something. Oh, interesting. Taking a sin item is better. Sounds good. That way you don't have to deal with token streams. Just make an item, pass to a function, insert the generated AST. Ah, for unit testing, yes. Thank you. Wow. Basically, this is only going to work on enum. If it's something that's not an enum, you're gonna have issues. Huh. It's interesting with the original item, we have to, you know what, I've lost track of what we were doing. I need to look at the exercise again. So 01 was just making sure that it parses and that it's on there, it works. Progress, what's 02? Not an enum. So if it's not an enum, then we should give it some sort of error message. What's the error that we have to provide? Expected enum or match expression. I'm not sure what they mean by or match expression. But the span is across the whole thing. If not matches, enum, this here, I don't understand why the match expression bit. Oh, sorted is going to work a match then. Oh, I see. I see. We can delete that, can't we? Matches macro. You're cheating. You're on 05. All right, expected. One argument found 0. Oh, I don't know. Who's not in that scope? So I get that. Oh, I have it backwards. All right. Whoa. Okay. So the test on this. Oh, it failed to load workspace. Hmm. There we go. So if it doesn't match an enum, then we're going to give it this error. Otherwise, we do some stuff down here later. Supports enum. What do we do with one of those? Item enum. Do I have to parse input for that? Okay. Ooh. Instead of manually constructing some complex syntype, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, we could just give it an empty enum. Okay. Oh, I have to tell it what type to parse into. It's been a while. Here's a did you know? Empty enum is an interesting type. Why? Because it's unconstructible. Oh, that is interesting. You're right. Huh. It's literally the same thing as it's a never type from theory point of view. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. All right. I know what we should do. Not yet implemented. Great. Line 20. Oh, it's already going. Perfect. And we should check the type on that. You know what? We're going to be checking that with the other error. I'm not gonna do that here. Infallible. And this. When is that landing, by the way? Oh, that's that's been since 134, but the never type. Interesting. All right. So that to do on 20. In this case, I mean, really, quote, bang. All right. Oh, it needs to be wrapped in. Okay. Infallible is an empty enum. Oh, it is. Yes. Oh, to find the bottom type. I guess technically this is the same thing as this. All right. Yeah, we're supposed to be passing the error on the wrong. Oh, okay. Oops. Let's go ahead and leave watch on there. Well, this parse input, it's like it needs the args here as well. Oops. You just returned token stream customer. Oh, I see. So in this case, if we have a sort error, we could say that this is not supported. Wrong type. No arguments, wrong type. Yes, invalid arguments. Only enums, no args. Because when we get down to matches, I guess in exercise 5, invalid args is probably good. So I guess only enum is, I mean, for, stage 2, only enum is pretty good. Right, but is good, but when we get to stage 5 where it's only enum and then only match, then it's only enum and match. No args. No enum, no match, not enum. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that going between, because we could say that this was just args, right? Args, wrong type of args. Well, there's just an args error. In the other case, we could say it's a type error, right? But it's just a bike shed here. True. It is. Because it's probably going to be easier to do that here. I know it. That's interesting because we could just implement, what is it, 2 tokens? Oh, I need to pass it the span. Oh, I see. Hmm. Report error. Self. Span. This is probably a Proc-mac 2 span, isn't it? Oh, interesting. Unless you want to store the span on the error. I don't think I do, actually. Because sometimes I think it's easier to provide the span from the parent. We'll see. Let's play around with that a little bit. That, and this is probably the last exercise I can do today. Where were we going with this? 2 compiler. Hmm. So parse input. Okay. And we want to give it the span, which would be the args. have to go from one type to the other for that. Well, that's funny, because I don't actually... That should just be error here. And then depending on which error happened. Okay. Oh, both token stream simple spanned. Hmm. What if feature is not turned on? Maybe it's a quoted feature? Oh, you're right. You are right. Parse input. There we go. Okay, and now we have the args here. But now we have to wrap it in this token stream again. Oh, that's a good idea too. Make an impl into VM2 token stream. It's funny because with these args, like this doesn't even matter. It's not like we're doing anything with the args. I mean, this is much more of an if-let error. Okay. Custom attribute panicked. Not implemented. All right. Oops, wrong side. Oh, report error. We had this type error. Yes. What is the expected output on this? O2, standard error. Expected enum or match expression, right? Oh, I have this on the wrong one. All right. Perfect. Okay, so that's working. Now, I've got to get into my chores today. I've got a lot to do. You like to call functions off of a reference, so... Oh, match foobar. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Right. Oops. Basically moving those down off of there. Like so. Hey, TJ. How's it going, TJ? How's everyone doing? Oh my goodness. Oh, Raiders. Raiders. Ah, you gotta run. Time for lunch and hanging out. All right, let's see if we can do one more. Because you got me, like, just as I was about to head out too. But we're actually working on Proc-macros here. So for those of you that aren't familiar, Proc-macros are like, you know, I guess macros in C++ or something else, but they're quite a bit more powerful in Rust. Do Megaray that? Oh, parse unwrap error. Ergs args. Oh, that's true, Museum. Oh, that'd be nice. Because errors shouldn't have all parse equal. True. Okay. You know, I probably should be kind to those waiting for me and do a mega raid. All right. Well, DJ, I really appreciate the raid, and we're gonna see. Oh wow, what's SpaceX doing today? Chickens? We can always raid the chickens again. We've never raided chickens. I tend to do a lot of Rust stuff, and we're working through the Tolnay's Proc-macro workshop. So if you are a Rust coder and are interested in attempting this, it's quite a bit of fun. Yeah, but now we know to put things into functions and make custom errors. That does appear to make this much, much easier, along with implementing parse on the different types. I think that will be a really, really big benefit to doing it this way. Just going to scroll down to the bottom here and then search for Rust. Wow, quite a few streamers today in SciTech. Oh, I can't be the only one. All right, we're probably gonna go with Strawberry Hacker then. Unless, of course, Musi, you want to stream. What's Strawberry doing today? Bare metal ARM operating system? Oh my goodness. Wow, they're doing that in C. Alright, I love C. I'm gonna go in this direction then. And I like the diagrams they're doing. What is that, draw IO? That's pretty neat. Cool. Well, I'm just getting set up to raid, and then we're gonna do it. Gotta click a couple more buttons, and then we're good. Oh, I just closed the wrong channel. So thank you for hanging out, everyone. And I stream from about 6:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. my time, Pacific Standard Time. Just been learning Rust, building a game server and a game client. So, until next time. Bye-bye.